Greetings, YouTube. The Doctor's in. Dr. Urias Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave a question or a comment. All right, today we are going to review and talk about our first class in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. And that class is the Alchemist. We got our picture here of our Goblin Alchemist, but there's lots of other classes. One of the great things about Pathfinder 2nd Edition with ancestries and heritages is that you can customize your attributes to fit the ancestry / heritage and class that you want. So if I want a Dwarven Alchemist, I can make a Dwarven Alchemist. If I want a Half-Orc Alchemist, I can do that. All right, so all right, here's our Alchemist. Key ability. First off, I am giving the Alchemist a C+. We're going to give it a C+. It is not the best class to do damage. It has quite a bit of versatility. It's not the best healer. It's not the best damage dealer. It's not the best tank. So there are other classes that are better than the Alchemist at those particular things. So that is why I'm giving it a C+. However, have I seen Alchemists shine? Yes, absolutely. They've got good skill choices. They're intelligence based, so they have they have good skills. They can heal, which is necessary. They have more healing than, say, the fighter does, but they're not as good as fighting as the fighter, and they can do decent damage. It takes a little while to get them to really shine, but I have seen them shine, especially if there's two alchemists in the party and you're dishing out all kinds of persistent damage every round, which we'll talk about that. Okay, the key ability for the Alchemist is the intelligence. So at first level, you get your ability boost to intelligence. Like I said, there are other classes that are more tanky, so they get 8 hit points plus the Constitution modifier. That's okay. They're only trained in perception. They're not an expert in perception. And they're an expert in fortitude and reflex, but they're trained in will saving throws. And so we've explained this before, but the biggest difference with skills, and you treat anything that can be trained to a certain level as a skill, essentially. You start out as untrained, then you go to trained, then you go to expert, then you go to master, and I think it's legendary after that. And you get different bonuses based off of that. So if you're just trained, then if you're untrained, you do not get a bonus equal to your level to the skill. If you're trained, you get a bonus equal to the level. If you're an expert, you get I think it's a +2 plus the bonus equal to your level, and then so on and so forth, higher for level. So you start as an expert. So they're good in fortitude and reflex, not so great in will. They're trained in crafting. Obviously, they're going to be making a lot of stuff. And then they're trained in a number of additional skills equal to 3 plus their intelligence modifier. So you should be starting with a 18 in intelligence. And that means that you will be trained in 7 skills. They are trained in simple weapons, alchemical bombs, and unarmed attacks. Like I said, they're not the greatest in melee combat, so you got to kind of leave that alone. I have one of the guys in one of my groups is an elf, and he's got, I think, elven weapon training, so he's got a longbow that he uses. And he uses a longbow quite a bit. They're trained in light armor and unarmored defense, so as a tank, there are things that are much tankier than them. And they're trained in the Alchemist class DC, which is that's the base for their saving throws. So one of the biggest differences between Alchemists in first edition Pathfinder and second edition Pathfinder are that the second edition Alchemists don't cast spells. They make things. They have formulas. And they make infusions, essentially. So we're going to get to that here. Okay. They're not social, so that's another thing. They're not social based. So if there's social encounters, then there's classes better than that. So there's pretty much always a class that's better than the Alchemist. The Alchemist is good in a lot of things, not great in a lot of things. While exploring, they're not really gonna be searching because they're only trained in perception. So maybe they're scouting to give that +1 to initiative. Remember I said about the exploration activities. We talked about that in the basics video that I did. Okay, here's the table for the Alchemist. So they are getting Alchemist feats. 2nd, 4th, 6th, 8, 10, 12, and so on. So they start with Alchemy. That's their base thing. They start with Alchemy, and they gain the alchemical crafting feat automatically, and they get 4 common first level formulas, which are on page 543. So let's go to page 543. And here they are by level. So they get 4 of the first level ones, and they go all the way down here to Tinder Twig. 4 of the first level ones. And some of these are bombs, and they say bombs. Some of these are elixirs, poisons, and tools. Okay? Let's go back. I think this was around this level. Okay. So they get 4 of those automatically with the alchemical crafting feat with alchemy. So with the alchemical crafting feat, they get these 3 features. They get infused reagents, which allows them each day during your preparation, you gain a number of batches of infused reagents equal to your level plus your intelligence modifier. And you should have an 18 intelligence. And so if you're first level, you're going to be making 5 infusions. You can use these reagents for either advanced alchemy or quick alchemy. And then they go away when you do your next daily preparation. So everybody does their daily preparation once every 24 hours at dawn. And there's something happens with their class when they do their daily preparation. So they're going to infuse, and then they're going to get these kind of generic batches of reagents that they're going to be able to use. Now you can do advanced alchemy. So during your daily preparations, after you get your infused reagents, you can just make alchemical items. So you don't need to attempt crafting to do this, and you ignore both the number of days typically required to create the items. So your advanced alchemy level is equal to your level. For each batch of infused reagents you spend, choose an alchemical item from your advanced alchemy level or lower that's in your formula book. So you got a book, it's like a spell book, and it's got formula in it. So you look at that, and you have to fill it. If you want higher level stuff than first level, when you get past first level, you have to either find those or you can put them in there, and there's a way to do that. And then these items are good for 24 hours. So these are items that you create in advance, that when you know that you're going to do something. So these are not things that you have to do on the fly. However, you can use quick alchemy to use 1 batch of infused reagents to make a item on the fly that basically lasts for a turn. So it's an action to do it. So there's a little action symbol there. Then you swiftly you create a single alchemical item of your advanced alchemy level or lower. So if you're 5th level, then it's 5th level. And it's got to also be in your formula book. And it's only potent until the start of your next turn. So this is if you need something that you didn't make before. You can make it right away. Like a lot of times you want to keep reagents back if you need to make a healing potion of some kind. And I've seen that with a lot of folks who do play Alchemist, where they hold back a few infused reagents in case they need to make that healing. So if we go back to page 543, we've got antidotes, anti-plagues. Where is it? Silver Tongue, Serene, Quicksilver, Elixir of Life. Elixir of Life. That's the one right there. So Elixir, first level, it restores a D6. Elixirs of Life accelerates the body's natural healing process. Upon drinking, you gain a listed number of hit points and gain the item's bonus to saving throws against disease and poison. So first level, it does a D6 and gives you a +1. At 5th level, it does 3d6 plus 6 and gives you a +1. At 9th level, it's 5d6 plus 12. So that's pretty potent. And you can make that with an action with this Quick Alchemy. So I always see some alchemists I know that play Alchemist. They hold that charge back. So it's one of these infused reagents. Instead, they make a certain number of advanced alchemy items at the beginning of the day, and then they hold a few of these back for Quick Alchemy. But once you use them, they're gone. So they hold them back for those healing because once they make them, they're gone anyway. So okay, so you get a formula book, and you start with the standard formula book. The book contains the formula for 2 common first-level items. That's on top of these ones you get for the alchemical crafting feat. So now you've got 6. And each time you gain a level, you add the formula for 2 common alchemical items to your formula book. These new formula can be of any level of item you can create. So remember, you can create items equal to your level or lower. So if you're 5th level, you can start adding 5th level. All right. At 1st level, you also choose a research field. So this is kind of like your subclass in Dungeons & Dragons. So you get this right away. So you can be a bomber, a chirurgeon, or a mutagenist, I guess you could say. Bombers, of course, they start with the formulas for 2 first-level alchemical bombs. That's 2 freebies. So you get 4 from alchemical crafting. You get 2 more from your formula book, that's 6. And if you're a bomber, you get 2 more, that's 8. You start with 8 formulas in your book. And the 2 that you take have to be bombs. And they're first level. And then throwing an alchemical bomb with the splash trait, you can splash damage to only your primary target instead of the usual splash area. So that's important. Chirurgeon has to pick one of these, but they get 2, so that's 8. And then a mutagenist or mutagenicist gets 2 mutagens. That's 8 too as well. And then there's alchemical feats. We'll look at those, general feats, such. So the other things you get at 5th level, you get a field discovery. So if you're a bomber, when you use advanced alchemy to make bombs during your daily preparation, you can use a batch of reagents to create 3 bombs instead of just 2. And remember, when you used advanced alchemy, here it is. For each batch of infused agents you spend, choose an alchemical item of your advanced alchemy or level or lower that's in your formula and make batch of 2 of that item. But with this, you can make 3 of any bomb. Doesn't have to be the same. Chirurgeon, when you use this, you make elixirs of life during your preparation. You can create 3 with each batch of reagents instead of 2. And mutagens, same thing, 3 mutagens. Okay. 7th level, you get Perpetual Infusions. So you gain the ability to create 2 first-level alchemical items using Quick Alchemy without spending a batch of infused reagents. The items you can select depend on the research field and what is in your formula book. The only problem with this is, so you use Quick Alchemy as an action, then you create 2. So you can create 2 bombs, you could throw one and then throw another one. Because it's an action to throw a bomb. So, so you get 2 for the price of 1. And bomber is choose 2 formulas. So, chirurgeon, lesser antidote or lesser anti-plague, and then mutagenesis, choose 2. Alchemical expertise at 9th level, you increase your skill level. Double brew, you know your formula so well you can concoct 2 items at once when using Quick Alchemy in action. Instead of spending 1 batch to create a single item, you can spend 2 batches, up to 2 batches, and to make 2 alchemical items of anything you want. So this is kind of a little bit of advanced version of that. 11th level is Perpetual Potency. You make the moderate version of the bombs you choose. So this is on top of this Perpetual Infusions. Your Perpetual Infusions improve, allowing you to use Quick Alchemy to create more powerful items. So you can make moderate versions. You get greater field of discovery, so your splashes go farther, and so forth. So now, at 2nd level, I believe we get an Alchemist feat. But there are 1st level and 2nd level Alchemist feat as well. So if you're a human, you can take class feats at 1st level for a lot of things. So you can get a Familiar, a Savant. You can be a Farlobber. See, a lot of alchemists take quick bombers, so you keep your bombs in easy to reach pouches from which you draw without thinking. You interact to draw a bomb, then strike with it. So instead of having to hold them in your hand, you just have them on your body, and you can just blast them out. Farlobber allows you it increases the range increment. So I've seen a lot of people take both of these. 2nd level. I've seen the smoke bomb before. That's pretty good. You cause the bomb to create a cloud of thick smoke. So use Quick Alchemy to craft a bomb. So you can create smoke. 4th level, I've seen Calculated Splash before. And you can cause the bomb to deal splash damage equal to your intelligence modifier instead of the normal amount. I've seen that. That's very effective. And what's another one I've seen? There's another one I have seen here. You can put these things on top of bombs, combine elixirs, debilitating bomb, directional bombs. I've seen this one where the splash is now in a 15-foot cone. That's a really good crowd control. And so forth and so on. So, you really want to put things on top of your bombs. Now, bombs in and of themselves can do a lot of different things. So there's acid flasks. The flask filled with corrosive deals 1 acid damage. And so the 1st level one deals 1d6 acid damage and 1 splash damage. 1d6 persistent. So the flask is filled. It deals 1 acid damage. The listed persistent acid damage and the listed splash damage. So when you hit somebody, it does 1, and then it does 1d6 persistent acid damage and 1 splash damage. Alchemist Fire. A 1st level Alchemist Fire deals a d8 damage, 1 persistent fire, and 1 fire splash damage. So you can really start to stack a lot of this damage up, especially if you have 2 different alchemists, or you have an alchemist that's hitting with more than 1 kind of bomb. So you could put fire and acid on them, or fire and lightning. I've seen there's a blight bomb that is actually not in here. It's in another book. That is extremely effective. That one does necrotic damage. So we've got Alchemist. We've got Bottled Lightning. So it does a d6 plus 1 electricity splash. This one does not do persistent damage. But the target becomes flat-footed. That's a really good thing. Frost Vial does 1d6 and 1 cold damage, and the target takes a -5 penalty. And Tanglefoot Bag, which is a bomb, which just does a penalty to their movement. Thunderstone does thunder damage. No persistent damage. So the ones that do persistent damage are the fire and the acid flask, which you can consistently do more and more and more. So the 3rd level one does 2d6 and 2 splash. The 3rd level of this one does 2 persistent fire and 2 splash. So really can get very, very cumbersome. And I think that there's some feats that allow you. Farlobber Quick Bomber. Smoke bombs, calculated splash. You can really, really, really make a lot of bombs. That's the thing. I have never really seen a point where alchemists run out of bombs. So this lets your bombs go longer. I really haven't seen any class run out of bombs. That's the main thing. So, all right, that is our review for the Alchemist. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will catch everybody later.